Howdy y'all, my name's Scott. I'm the author of Rivet Stone, and I may be just some author, but let me tell you, I'm out here begging that you actually start organizing your descriptions. So what do we mean by that? Like, let's say, for example, you have your main protagonist, and they're walking up to a character, and you want to describe that character. And if you have it so it's like, oh yeah, their eyes were this way, and then their hair, and then their feet, and then the cloak upon their shoulder, and their eyelashes, and their jawline, and then their shoes wiggled in their toes, and their broad shoulders, and then their feet, and then their feet again. Why are you talking about feet so much? It's, it could be super disjointing on like why, you're literally like envisioning the main protagonist just like jumbling up and down. Like, let's bless their heart. You know what I mean? Like it's not only just disorienting, just like contextually as you're trying to like, read down this freaking random list, but it kind of takes you out of the moment because who's noticing these things in this way? And there's two, maybe even three different ways that I think is an easy tool for us to kind of organize how we're using our descriptors. One, obviously, you should be lumping the sort of, if you're describing one particular thing or one particular area, all of those descriptions should be together. So, for example, you could talk about eyes and then hair, and then jawline. And then, if you're talking about like something with their legs, you talk about shoes, perhaps posture, maybe they have like a battle scar on their knee, etc. So that's one great tip. Another is that whatever kind of character is observing, if your main protagonist is observing, how would your main protagonist observe this new character? So, I think for most people, they would just like kind of start at the head and then go down to the body and then, maybe down to the feet and maybe the posture and then maybe even kind of dig into like, oh, the sort of shoes they're wearing or floor or whatever have you. Because that's like a very, traditional way that everyone else, if I go, hey, how's it going? You would start head, body, feet. I mean, that's just a typical way that we scan top to bottom when just sort of, I want to say examine someone. Is that not weird? Is that not the right word? We're just going to say examine. When you're examining someone. Now, maybe your character is like more street smart or maybe has like been betrayed before. So the first thing he notices the sword that's around his waist. And he notices like, oh, wow, he's actually, one, brandishing it on the left-hand side, and he's been like coddling that a little bit too much. Why is he so fidgety with his like fingers that are super calloused? Boom. So instead of just describing characters, you don't have to do this all the time, but it does give you the opportunity to sort of characterize your descriptions. And another quick way or another quick tip to organizing some of your descriptors is that traditionally you want to organize things by most important to least important. And oftentimes you're going to be cutting off all the least important stuff because like, why are you telling people things that don't matter? And again, that can align with just in a narrative sense. So like closer to a top to bottom sort of descriptor. Maybe whatever is the most exuberant thing about them. Perhaps it's, the first thing they notice and that everyone notices is their bright blonde hair that sparkles and dazzles. Or again, what's important to the character, your main protagonist, for example, observing it. As in the previous example, the most important thing for him is like, okay, what weapon is this guy doing? So that's the first thing that he notices. But you can also do the opportunity of doing the opposite, of saying the most important thing last. And this makes more sense in a sort of like narrative way of kind of describing it. So say, for example, if they, you have like someone and you're describing their hair is gorgeous and their body is gorgeous and their curves are perfectly, okay, let's calm down. But you get, we're painting the picture of this like, beautiful character. And at the very end, and then it's like, and their face looked like a pig, and you're like, whoa, there's a little bit of fun there where most, as a character, you would probably notice like, holy, look at the hog face on this one. Like, you kind of, it gives you the opportunity to, do a little twist at the end, which kind of sort of notes some of the contrast within that particular character. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity to sort of have fun with it, but I think those three tips will really help go a long way to make your descriptions more organized, more legible, and a lot more fun. So hopefully that helped. Give me a like, give me a sub, and let's get published.